This video lecture is going to cover the introduction to this embodiment design. Embodiment design is bridging between conceptual design and detailed design. This is also named as preliminary design or system level design. This embodiment design, which takes the inputs of these concepts, have been evaluated and screened out and come out as a winner concept, and tries to develop a technical product from this particular concept in accordance with the technical and economical criterion and provides the information to the digital design, which in turn makes the product to be visualized and realized through the production process. So in embodiment design, it covers the overall layout design and also a preliminary form of designs where the components and shapes, how it needs to be, and what materials needs to be chosen, and how the process needs to be followed up to convert the raw material into the required component, and is there any other solutions which are essential for making these functionalities to be reflected in a product to be developed. So utmost importance in this particular design is focusing on technological and economical considerations of bringing a shape to the concept which has been evaluated and chosen. So as it is mentioned, this phase is also referred as a preliminary design and system level design. It is going to be initiated after conceptual design, and then its outputs are going to be utilized by detailed design. So this term embodiment design is coined by Paul and Beetz in 2006 and is mostly adopted by modern European engineering product design managers. So as we have come across the conceptual design, where you used to get a lot of concepts which have been developed and evaluated to a single concept or a little smaller sheet of concepts for further development. In embodiment design or system level design or preliminary design, which has been synonymously called, there are three phases what it happens in this embodiment design. One is about finalizing the product architecture, and second one is about configuring that particular architecture in the form of shape and the way how it needs to be executing the functions to satisfy the product needs. And the third one is about quantifying the important design parameters to optimize the way how it could be delivered. Coming to the detailed design, after taking these inputs which are evolved out from the embodiment design to prepare a detailed technical drawings, which in turn will be helpful for the manufacturers to understand and follow the procedures, and also bill of materials to be made out, and then deciding about what manufacturing process could be more suitable for making these products in order to exhibit the functionality, what is essential to be done. Here, in a pictorial way, the embodiment design has been defined as a conceptual design which is being witnessed with the concepts whether it works out or not. Thereafter, converting this conceptual design in the form of physical product, what it requires, that process is taken care in our embodiment design. What is something called the putting the meat on the bones. If you look at the procedures followed there in conceptual design, where we are defining the problem, and either by using this quality function deployments and project plannings and benchmarkings and statements, all these things have been becoming as ingredients in making out your problem to be defined. Thereafter, gathering the information, either it could be for external search or internal search, and trying to go for generating the concepts by using the different concept generation tools, and after that evaluating the concepts and trying to find out the suitable one in converting these particular needs into the possible solutions. So after completion of this evaluation of concept, which has been emerged out as a winner, to be considered to make that to be physically viable. For that, there is a product architecture where arranging all the physical components, which in turn makes the final function to be executed by the product. And then coming to configuration design, where selection of material, selection of manufacturing, modeling and sizing of parts could be taken care. And coming to the parametric design, where optimizations could be carried out with robust design and tolerances and final dimensions and trying to adhere to all design for X. So these three portions of design activities comes under this embodiment design. Thereafter it enters into detailed design, where you'll be taking care about detailed drawings and specifications. So let us just study about these three portions which are going to be happening under the embodiment design. So embodiment design, it consists of product architecture and also configuration design and then parametric design. In product architecture, you'll be able to identify the components, sub-assemblies, sub-assemblies which are essential in making your particular idea or concept to become as a physical product. Then in a configuration design, where you are going to establish the shape and dimensions of each and every components and subsystems and sub-subsystems and specifying the material for each one of them and specification of the standards if it is required for each component, and then modeling, doing simulation, ensuring the reliability of each and every component's work, and then doing some rapid prototyping to cross-check the validity, and then you'll be entering into parametric design, where you come across optimization techniques and evaluation of design, examining the design. These particular activities are going to be carried out in each phase of embodiment design. So in detail, when you wanted to look at the product architecture, here we have taken a digital camera as an example, where the lens will be there. Through lens, you are able to the rays going to be emerged out, and that particular things like depending upon two directions what is shown. One is by reflection, it enters into the mirror and again gets reflected. It has been captured by image sensor, and thereafter it enters into digital core. From there, main CPU, and there is a audio gyro Wi-Fi, or it will be entering into rear LCD. Okay, and this is a process where it will be taken like a to and fro. And similarly, when you just take out from viewfinder, okay, so from there you can see how that particular the picture is being witnessed by you or seen by you. There is a DDR. So all these things are explaining about what are the components are required in order to make the digital camera to function. So these components and systems or subsystems which have been identified to justify the functionalities to be which are promised to satisfy the needs of the customer. So overall design system is divided into small subsystems and modules, and the designer has to decide how these physical components are organized to combine them and to carry out the functional duties of the design. Coming to this product architecture, there are two categories. One is about modular product architecture, other one is about integral product architecture. Each one is having its own advantages and also disadvantages. Modular product architecture means having components for each and every specific application different and are going to be assembled to get the common functionality or combined functionality. Integral means which have been embedded inside a single commodity, right, where you cannot separate them. So this is the difference between modular and integral. Here you could see the camera where zoom has been attached to that, okay, where the processor has been attached to that, right. Here you can see each one could be chosen separately, and if you want, you can have a different capabilities of each, and you can just use it based on the configuration what actually you wanted to see. But there is an opportunity for you to mix match, or you can just select the different products which can be compatible and able to vary things. But in this particular thing, it cannot be varied because this is totally integrated. Coming to here, laptop is again like integrated the product, where you see the desktop where you're having the the keyboard is different, speakers are different, okay, and again you have got CPU and mouse. Each and everything has been separately taken and assembled such a way that you can see the entire functionality could be executed through this modular design. Coming to this laptop, all the features have been integrated within that. Of course, there are the opportunities for again enhancing the capabilities of this particular built-in the integral component also, but it again demands additional components, additional features, what needs to be procured. So the advantage and disadvantage of this two types of product architecture is, when you look for integral, this is designed to have higher system performance, where combining the suitable things within them and trying to see best outcome which could be arrived at. And these have been totally connected, tightly connected with the design teams. There will not be any issues of integrating those components, because these are all inbuilt integrated, and you may not have any possibilities of changing it. Once if you find there is something is failed, you require to just leave out entire product. You can't modify the one particular the component or item which is failed, so entire product to be totally not usable, not functional. Coming to the modular, where you may not be able to see the way how the performance is executed by the integral, okay, and but you can separately, if any product fails, you can just detach it and you can just go for another substitute in the particular failed product, and you are able to increase the functionality or improve the functionality or continue the usage of that particular product, and you will have a lot of flexibility, and it accommodates made to order products also. Then coming to the configuration design, where parts and components are arranged in space relative to each other, shape and general dimensions of the components are established, and you will be coming across preliminary selection of materials and manufacturing process. So this configuration design, which it involves the product design specifications review, and also identifying and defining the space constraints, and identifying and defining the interfaces and connections between the components. Maintain the functional independence of assembly or the component to ensure that changes should affect only a single function. And identifying and eliminating or reducing the parts by either removing it or combining few parts together. Coming to the third important segment in our embodiment design is the parametric design, where you are going to concentrate on determining the dimensions and tolerance of the product design parameters. The finalizing the material and manufacturing process to be followed, and also you need to check the robustness of the design, and then you need to confirm every activity in adherence to DFX, design for manufacturing, design for assembly, design for costing, design for quality, design for testing, design for modularity, design for reliability, like that. For every the functionality, you are going to confirm it and able to take a decision about your design is being fully completed or not. So in this, what are the things you'll come across? You may go for alternate design generations, alternate design analysis of results evaluation, and you can have option of doing optimization and refining your design parameters with the values and with the tolerances. So main objective of this parametric design is to set values for the design variables to produce the best possible design considering both the performance and cost. So setting the dimensions and tolerances to maximize quality and performance and minimizing the cost. This is the focus of parametric design. So as a whole, if you just look at an embodiment design, it involves large number of corrective steps in which analysis and synthesis constantly alternate and complement each other. The collection of information on materials, production process, repeat parts and standards involves considerable effort. The embodiment process is complex in that many actions must be performed simultaneously. Several steps must be repeated in a higher level of information, and additions and alternations in one area have repercussions on the existing design in other areas. So we need to have a holistic way of looking at identifying the alternate ideas, alternate solutions in the face of design, the face of configuration design, and the face of parametric design, and the face of the first phase of embodiment design. So this embodiment design stage of a new product development is an abstract design concept will get molded into a system or product that works and can be manufactured within the estimated cost. With this today, in this lecture, we are able to have an introduction about the embodiment design, and we understood where this embodiment design is playing a role in our new product development. And also we have come across the phases of embodiment design. There are 3 phases. One is about product architecture, and second one is about configuration design, and third one is about parametric design. And also we come to know about every stage what actually will be performed and how you will be able to add the meat to the skin and meat to the concept, which in turn makes the concept to be realized as a physical component or product to satisfy the functionalities expected by the customer to use it. In that first phase of the phase 1 is about architectural design, where you are taking a decisions about what type of components are going to be utilized, what type of subsystems you need to deploy, and what are the subsystems you require to utilize in order to make your concept to be materialized as a product. And coming to the configuration design, you need to understand about the shape and size of each and every component and material to be used, and the manufacturing process you are going to be recommending, and how those manufacturing process are going to be more suitable to that, and what is shape that you require to use it, and what the size need to be used, what material to be utilized. These particular portions could be taken care in your configuration design. Then the final stage of embodiment design is called the parametric design, where you are coming across checking your design, optimizing your design, examining the design, bringing out the robust design with the finalization of your manufacturing process, selections, and also to make your dimension values and tolerances to be retuned such a way that you'll be able to make the product at cheaper price and having a better quality and better performance.